just got into Flagstaff. We're trying to get through, and now we are in a traffic jam. There is construction up ahead. One lane is closed, and it's screwing up our timing.
Moxie, Greg, and I are riding around the world to raise $100,000 for the nonprofit Girl Up. We're donating 10% of RUFFLY sales to the fundraiser and posting a new episode every week. It's a big dog on two wheels adventure for girls' empowerment. So follow along and please lend your support. We had a great event at the Sandia BMW this morning. It was great talking to riders and people who are interested about seeing Moxie riding on the bike and thinking about their dogs and how they're going to take them along too. So it was really a nice event. Great to meet those people, and I hope that we'll be able to catch up with them along the way. And so the rest of the day has been prep. We need to prep for the Iron Tail that's happening tomorrow. We're going to be going from Albuquerque all the way across New Mexico into Arizona, from Arizona into California, and then up through Bakersfield, Fresno, and then we're going to end at a hotel that I found in Jamestown, California, which is about an hour away from Mariposa, California, where the Horizons Unlimited event is happening next week on Thursday.
Iron Tail prep number 11. Make sure to have a good meal the night before. In this case, we had some California Pizza Kitchen. Not bad.
Iron Tail prep number 9. Make sure that you rest your snout the night before and have a good one, because you're going to be on the bike all day tomorrow. Just a quick time out to tell you how you can support the GoRUFFLY Around the World adventure for Girl Up. You can donate directly to Girl Up at GoRuffly.com/world-adventure. You can make a purchase at GoRuffly.com where 10% goes towards the fundraiser. Tell all your friends and family about it. And of course, like this video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much. Now back to the adventure.
So it's been a 4 a.m. wake up. We are having a cup of coffee to try and become alive again. Iron Tail prep 3. I have already created our coffees for tomorrow. So they are ready to go. We will nuke them, we will drink them, and then we will go. And then we pack the bikes and hit the road.
Iron Tail prep number 6. Make sure that you take a shower in the evening and not in the morning. It's going to be a really cold morning, probably about 4 or 5 degrees. You don't want to have wet hair. They don't have a blow dryer. And you don't want to add additional time to your morning routine. Shower in the evening and get going in the morning.
All this begins with a visit to the gas station.
We are ready to go. It is a bit later than we expected. It's about 5:40. And we are going to start out by going to get gas.
At least from sort of the official rules of the Iron Bud, it's all about sort of gas station stops.
Iron Tail prep number 8. Make sure that you fill up in the morning before you leave, not the evening before. If you look at the regulations for an Iron Butt or Iron Tail, you need to have documentation. And your ride actually starts when you go and get gas in the morning, and you can show your receipt beside your odometer. So don't do it in the evening, do it in the morning first thing, and then start going.
Iron Tail prep number 1 is to remove the peaks from our helmet. Now, I am actually not this anal. This was actually, if you can believe it, Jess's idea to wrap them and protect them to this extent. Surprising, I know. But again, not me, Jess. So the idea is that even with the tall windscreens and my spoiler thing, the peak does catch some wind. It's quite good, but it does catch some, and over that much time and distance, that can be fatiguing. So we have removed it in order to reduce the fatiguing. So this is our second rest. All's going pretty well. It was cold for a while there. Outside of like Gallup, it got really windy, pretty brutal, especially when you're going 85, 90 the whole time. Moxie seems to be doing great. She's a champ. At our first rest stop, she wanted to She started barking, she wanted to play, she wanted to fight. Unfortunately, we couldn't appease her. We just had to saddle her back up and get going again. Iron Tail prep number 12. Take the dog for a nice long walk the evening before. You're gonna be in the riding position for some long hours, so you wanna get that blood moving the night before with a nice long walk. But this is how it's going. Gas stops are about gas and food and some water, peeing for the dog, peeing for us, and then getting going again. Iron Tail prep number 4, I think we're on. So Jess has bought us some pre-made sandwiches. We don't even want to have to go into the gas stations or anything like that to buy the things in the moment. So we have all of our sort of snack bar, granola bar, fig bar type things, and we have pre-made like healthy sandwiches so that we can eat it like at the gas pump.
Yeah, of course. Her name's Moxie.
Moxie, she's sure got Moxie riding with you.
She sure does.
Oh, does she have goggles too?
Yeah, she does.
Oh, cute.
That one is for
You
me.
got goggles. Oh, there's food.
Oh, no, that's what she's excited about.
No attention here. I want more food. Hey, kid. Oh, where are you guys coming from? Or going to?
Today we came from Albuquerque. We're doing an iron butt to California.
Oh, really? Oh my gosh, that's great.
Yeah.
Oh. Hey.
Iron Tail prep number 10. Just like we've got ready-made sandwiches to eat on the road, we also purchase drinks ahead of time. So we've got Gatorades that we'll have right at hand. We can drink them right at the pump. It means that we don't have to go all the way in and purchase them, and they'll keep us hydrated as we go.
Just got into Flagstaff, trying to get through, and now we are in a traffic jam. There is construction of one lane that's closed, and it's screwing up our timing.
If we hit rain tomorrow, it could be really around the Flagstaff area. So, Iron Tail Prep 2. I've got an emergency rain poncho. If you'll recall, my rain gear totally failed me between Puebla and Mexico City in a rainstorm about 3-4 weeks ago. On the road, makeshift emergency rain protection is to use the rain fly from the tent, or actually the footprint from the tent, to put over my body, and then the soaking wet riding jacket will go over it because it's already soaking wet. So that's not a permanent solution, especially not on a motorcycle, but it's something because I haven't had a chance to find a proper, solid, quality rain jacket yet.
I just called the hotel that we're staying at in Jamestown, California, letting them know it'll probably be 1, 2, maybe 3 a.m. by the time we actually get in, and I wanted to make sure we could still check in. They were really kind. She said that she'll be there to open the door for us, so not a problem. Iron Tail prep number 7. Have treats for Moxie that she can eat on the bike. Moxie is a really slow eater when it comes to her kibble, and I know that throughout all of the riding tomorrow she's not going to want to eat, so I got her special beef jerky just for her. Then I can give it to her while she's up on the cockpit, and then she can lap up the water as I give it to her in her bowl. So in this last 100 miles, Moxie was like pushing up against me, and I think she was just getting tired. So I reached back to pet her, and I put my hand out, and she ended up putting her snout in my hand. She needed a snout rest. So that wasn't gonna be comfortable for long. So I put my hand down, and then all of a sudden she starts coming up and she starts putting her snout on my shoulder. So I became a shoulder snout rest. It's like I had this big parrot up here. So when we stop now, we've decided that we're gonna put my sleeping pillow attached to her tender paw trekker, so that will give her a place where she can put her snout down so that she can be a little bit more comfortable. We're still doing these 100-mile stretches, and it's been working out pretty good. We're actually doing a little more than 100 miles, but we are on our way, and soon we will be at our hotel, soon-ish.
stop number 7.
No,
We are.
6. It's number 6, but we've done 702 miles.
I had this moment towards the beginning of this last segment where I looked down and Google was telling me 6 hours and 15 minutes left, which is obviously not true because that would be if we did it as a straight shot. But I sort of had this moment of like, yeah, I think I can see us getting there. And then it wasn't within like 20 minutes or so of that when my butt started hurting. Oh, sore ass. I have this like lowered seat deal that's narrow for like adventure riding and off-road and whatnot, which means that there's less of it to hold your ass, which means less of your ass is supporting all of your weight. So it's like putting, you know, all of that in a smaller area means more soreness. So that's what I am confronting right now. Iron Tail prep number 12, maybe 13. Have a little bit of a treat at the end that you can look forward to. So I guess this is for failure or success. But on the positive flip side, Moxie's snout rest pillow makeshift deal that we did in the last stop seems to be working de puta madre. So I'm very happy about that. I'm gonna do a couple of mods on it to get it a little bit sort of from sliding down the front of the cockpit and keeping it a little bit back up. And hopefully she can like do these last easy 300 miles with the comfort and maybe even getting some sleep. Just what we need though would be getting there, accomplishing this, being fucking destroyed, but yet Moxie has gotten sleep and so she wants to play and go for a walk and huck or who knows what at the end of this. So that is what I am not hopeful for. Iron Tail prep number 14. Make sure to have a dog jacket. Moxie generally can handle all kinds of cold temperatures, even with the wind chill, so we don't generally worry about it. But this is going to be non-stop, high-speed riding all day long. This is stop number 9. We have done 920 miles, more or less.
We're gonna split this next section up into 2 one-hour stretches, and then we should be there. It's gonna get a little bit cooler as we go further north, but we've got all of our clothes on, so I think we'll be good.
There's some confusion about Jess's odometer and my odometer because they are not jibing exactly, and it's not just because mine's in kilometers and hers is in miles, even though she's Canadian and I'm American. We won't get into it, but they're a little bit off. She's ahead of me, but we've been obviously riding in tandem, so she might be counting a little bit fast. But Google Maps verified distance from Albuquerque to our motel is 1,020 miles. So at the end, we will see whose odometer is closest to that, taking into account other factors. Plus, we have our GSAT track, so we can see what it has us at in terms of our points. I've also been doing it off of my phone, and that'll give us a pretty good sense of... Oh, God, I'm so blown out. Stop number 10, I think. This was like a half segment. We did about 50 miles, give or take. Mostly because it's late as shit. It's about midnight or thereabouts, and we are tossed. So it made sense to not try and go the last full 100 miles. Plus, the deal is, so we're in Merced, California right now, and from here, and maybe this was not the brightest thing we could have done, but we didn't want to stay in like, you know, a big city like a Fresno or something where we would, I mean, who knows where we end up. We wanted to be in like more of a small town, into the foothills or towards the Sierra. The problem with that is that means that your last maybe 50 miles are basically going up into the mountains, which means twisties, which means cold, and exactly at the time when it really should be the easiest and warmest and most relaxed. So, brilliant. We leave the 58 highway and now we're going on to something else that is not that, and that starts to take us into the mountains. So Jess is inside the convenience store, just warming up a bit. We are sharing a coffee. We've been sharing coffees throughout because a whole coffee means this, right? We wanted just kind of this sort of a deal.
It's 1:15 a.m. and we made it. We did our 1,000 miles in about 19 hours and 15 minutes. We're exhausted.
Fucking blown out. Don't want to do this anymore. All right, let's get to our motel. We have iron-tailed the shit out of the last 20 hours. We nailed it. It's 4.5 degrees, so it's fine. If it was like 4 degrees, that would be bad, but 4.5, no worries. Basically what I anticipated would happen has happened, which is that Moxie slept. We made her too comfortable in her cockpit with the addition of her snout rest pillow. So we made Moxie too comfortable with her snout rest pillow, so she slept on the cockpit during the ride, and now she has energy. We are really hopeful that this energy does not last, that it's just a momentary perk, and then it will quickly leave her. My fingers are crossed.
Hi guys, thanks for watching. I hope you really enjoyed the episode. So Go Roughly Around the World is all about accepting challenges. And one that I wanted to take on was the Iron Tail. So that's reason number 1 why I wanted to do it. Number 2 was I wanted to get back at Greg. So in 2013, we did a North to South America motorcycle trip. And I was a brand new rider. I only had about 1,000 kilometers on a 160cc when Greg taught me to ride in Liberia. And then we came to LA. I bought the bike that I'm on now, the BMW G650 GS. And we started off going north from LA to Whistler, and then we were on our way back down. All we had done was tarmac. We hadn't done any dirt. But Greg wanted to go through Baja and then take the ferry over to the mainland. And he also wanted to do some of the dirt riding because Baja is like the mecca for motorcyclists and dirt riding. So he found a path that we were going to do. And it was the day of my 29th birthday. And we set off in the morning, and we basically set off on these bikes that had street tires that were fully loaded with all of our gear, and it was boiling hot out. And as we started going, of course, like you'd expect, I'm a new rider. I had basically never ridden on dirt before, and now I'm on this fully loaded bike. I was falling left and right. I was absolutely miserable. And then after like my third fall, I went for my water. And so the thing is, we were staying at a hotel previously in Mexico, and Greg didn't want to continue to buy water bottles. He said, well, let's just fill it up from the tap into our water bladders and then use the SteriPen to sterilize it. That way we'll save having to buy all these water bottles and dispose of them. Okay, fine, I was on board with that. But then after my third fall, when I went to take a drink, the water was absolutely disgusting. It had like the remnants of all of the rust in the pipes of that hotel. It was disgusting. I couldn't even drink it. So now my bike is down. I'm completely dehydrated. I'm miserable. I just feel defeated because I'm not getting anywhere in this soft sand. I'm just lost. And all of these other dirt riders are like sort of zipping by me. Greg is trying to help me get my bike up, and then I have him ride up a section of like a hill climb or something like that. Stops the bike, then we were like walking back and forth. It was absolutely horrible. We ended the night like on the beach side and under a palapa, and Greg just didn't understand why I wasn't so thrilled about the day that I had. He was looking at it like there was going to be so much growth and character building, and it was a fantastic gift to have on your 29th birthday. Like, what could have been better than an experience like that was so tough and difficult, but that you made it through? Well, it wasn't a challenge that I accepted, and I was miserable. And so on that note, I decided that for Greg's 40th birthday, we would do the Iron Tail. And it's my funny way of getting back at him, because he's always the first one to complain that his butt is hurting and that he wants to take a break. Moxie and I, like, we're pretty good. My bike seat is really comfortable, and obviously Moxie can last for a long time. So Greg is always the weakest link. So I said, okay, fine. So on April 10th, on his 40th birthday, we will do 1,000 miles in 24 hours. And that's exactly what we did. And so here's my sort of post-mortem of the Iron Tail. I think we did a really great job of doing our 100 miles, taking a break, letting Moxie down, the way that we did the photos of the gas and all of that. That part all worked out really well. And it wasn't until maybe the last 300 miles or so that you could I was feeling more of the fatigue. So one thing I noticed about a week ago was we had missed out on one important step that we would need in order to get certified by the Iron Butt Association. We did all of the receipts by the odometer photos. We did all of those at every rest stop. I had all of that. But the one thing that we forgot was you need a witness at the beginning and at the end of your trip that they could potentially call up and to verify that you actually did it. Did we do that? No. We started off in Albuquerque and then we ended in Jamestown. We didn't ask anybody. It was a self-serve gas station, so it's not like there was somebody there who had seen us and spoke to us that we could call up and be like, remember us? We were those two bikers with the dog and we were doing this thing, and could you just verify that we started or ended at this time? No. So we can't get our official certification from the Iron Butt Association, but our Iron Tail, it actually happened. I have the receipts. Might not have the witness, but I've got the receipts. So that's just, it's just gonna have to be certified in our own minds. But one tip about the Iron Tail that I realized too late, I guess, was it makes a lot more sense to stop your Iron Tail or your Iron Butt on the interstate. We had picked that hotel in Jamestown, California, because it looked like a really cute little mining town, and we were going to spend a few days there working. And because of that, I had found this great place that was pet friendly, parking, all of that. But what I didn't really pay attention to was the road that leads to Jamestown. So we rode on the interstate from Albuquerque all the way Bakersfield, and then from Bakersfield going north, obviously you're sort of getting off the interstate to get into that mountainous area. And so that was at like 11 o'clock at night, after we had already been riding for like 18 hours or 17 hours at that time. So we were tired, it was dark out, and then now we're on this secondary road that's windy and that didn't have street lights. So it really wasn't the most ideal location to end at, but it did, it was a beautiful place to stay. It's just, if we were gonna do this again, which I'm not sure we will, but you never know, I think that it would make a hell of a lot more sense to stop at a Motel 6 on the interstate when you reach that 1,000-mile mark. And that would have just made things a little bit smoother for us and not as stressful. Because like I said, the last 300 miles were the toughest for us. I found myself getting a little giddy while we were riding, and Greg kept asking me over the communicator, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I think it was just from the fatigue and the hour. But look, we made it. Everything was safe. We got there. Moxie was a trooper. So it's definitely doable with a dog. And even though we don't have our Iron Butt Association certificate saying that we did the Saddle Sore 1000, I think we're probably the only ones, or I am probably the only one, who has done a true Iron Tail. Make sure that you guys subscribe to us here on YouTube. New episodes come out every Sunday at 11 a.m. Central, so make sure you got your notifications turned on. And at GoRUFFLY for Instagram and Facebook so you can follow along. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and we'll talk to you soon.